What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. A TLC has come and gone, but how was the show? Join us now as Wrestlelamia recaps the 2019 edition of TLC and looks at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. But let's waste no further time and jump straight into the pre-show, as there was only one match on it, and it was Humberto Carrillo vs Andrade with Zelina Vega. Andrade dominates until Carrillo makes a slow but determined comeback, defeating Andrade with an inverted hurricanrana and moonsault. After the match, both Andrade and Vega yell at each other, trying to blame each other for the loss, but Andrade has had enough and just leaves Zelina Vega in the ring while he walks to the back. Next up onto the main show, as the show opens up with a ladder match for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships as the champions The New Day take on the Revival. Both teams fight hard to incapacitate their opponents to give themselves enough time to climb the ladder and claim the Tag Team Championship. Things look good for the Revival, but Big E takes out Wilder and himself with a big ending off the ladder while Dawson reaches for the belt after dazing Kofi. Kofi manages to grab the belts, swinging them into Dawson's head and knocking him off the ladder. Kofi then manages to grab the Tag Team Championship belts. The New Day retain. After that, it's singles action as Aleister Black takes on Buddy Murphy. Another excellent story as Murphy gains momentum after injuring Black's jaw, targeting it repeatedly, only for Black to hold on and win with the Black Mass. After that, it's a Raw Tag Team Championship match as the Viking Raiders made an open challenge. Anderson and Gallows answer the Viking Raiders' open challenge with neither team able to get the advantage. All four men brawl outside the ring, leading to a double countout. And lots of boos in the arena. The fighting continues outside the ring with the OC putting Eric through the KFC table. However, Ivar stops them and Anderson eats some KFC as well as a table, courtesy of the Viking Raiders. When did this become tables, ladders and chicken? Anyway, next up is a tables, ladders and chairs match between Roman Reigns and King Corbin. The big dog has an entire kingdom to battle if he wants to get to the king, and Roman dispenses with Corbin's security and delivers some punishment to King Corbin until His Highness downs Roman with a can of dog food. Despite a courageous comeback, Corbin's entourage of Dolph Ziggler and the Revival, as well as Corbin's footmen, proved too much as they hit their finishes, leading to Corbin hitting the End of Days to end Roman's misery. And just as we predicted, King Corbin manages to defeat the big dog. Next up, a non-title match as Universal Champion Bray Wyatt, not The Fiend, takes on The Miz. A happy-go-lucky Bray Wyatt takes in the fans' cheers before the match, with The Miz looking to punish him, going so far as kayfabe dislocating Wyatt's shoulder. However, Wyatt literally laughs off The Miz's offense, hitting two Sister Abigails for the win. But after the match, The Fiend appears on the Titantron and Bray grabs his oversized hammer. We're still wondering why Michael Cole was shocked he saw the same damn hammer in Hell in a Cell. But Bray had one intention in mind, and that was preparing to finish The Miz once and for all. However, someone with a hoodie on stepped into the ring and dishes out several familiar running knees. He takes off his hood, and it's Daniel Bryan with a shock return. And he's also gone back to his old look as he shaved off all his hair and his beard. He gives some stomps to Wyatt, and Bryan grabs the hammer and is about to flatten Wyatt when the lights go out and Wyatt vanishes. Bryan gets on the turnbuckle and does the yes chants. Next up, a tables match between Rusev and Bobby Lashley. Lashley dominates, but Rusev ultimately makes his comeback, getting ready to push Lashley through a table until Lana grabs his face, giving Lashley all the time he needs to put Rusev through the table. Backstage, the Street Profits are interrupted as Roman Reigns, Humberto Carrillo and The New Day brawl with King Corbin, The Revival and Dolph Ziggler. And finally, the main event, as it's a tables, ladders and chairs match for the Women's Tag Team Championships as the champions the Kabuki Warriors take on Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. Becky and Charlotte seem to have one thing on their mind, punishing the Kabuki Warriors. Unfortunately, Asuka and Kairi Sane can dish out the punishment even better than they can take it. Becky looks to have the belts within her hands as she climbs the ladder. However, Asuka yanks a rope attached to the ladder and knocks it over, stunning Becky and grabbing the belts for the win. The Kabuki Warriors retain. But the night's not over just yet, as afterwards, the Pier 6 brawl between the forces of Roman Reigns and King Corbin spills out into the arena as TLC goes off the air. But that was a quick recap. Let's look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. Let's start off with the good as number 1, a reason to watch the pre-show. The Humberto Carrillo vs Andrade match was fantastic, showcasing both superstars' talents, particularly their ability to work a fast-paced match with high spots that actually tells a story. Neither superstar took devastating blows and shook them off, only to move on to the next. They told a story of each move slowing them down as they looked for the right combination to finish their opponents. Typical pre-show matches are NXT Cruiserweight Champion bouts or matches fans have been conditioned to treat as meaningless. However, this match could change things as both men set the stage for a strong show. Number 2. Keeping it fresh. Ladder matches are difficult to pull off, not only due to their physicality, but because it's difficult to create new spots without destroying your opponents. The New Day vs Revival match featured some of the familiar spots, but both teams deserve credit for keeping things fresh, particularly the finish that saw Kofi use the belts to bludgeon his way to victory. Number 3. Samoa Joe shines. The WWE should be thankful Samoa Joe is out with a broken thumb, because they may have found the best use for him, that of a color commentator. The Samoan submission machine may be wasted in the ring, but he's doing a great job as a color commentator, and this was evident, particularly during the Buddy Murphy vs Aleister Black match, where he was able to share his knowledge of strong style wrestling. Barring a significant push, Joe is better off in the announce booth than in the ring. Number 4. Powerful promos. The WWE's promos are often awful, but TLC featured pre-match promos that actually built up excitement for the match. Whether it was the cocky heel King Corbin promising to humble Roman Reigns, or The Miz talking of how he wasn't fighting as a wrestler, but as a husband and father protecting his family, the WWE conveyed the feeling that the matches needed to be watched. Number 5. Perfect pacing. The WWE's matchmakers did an outstanding job maintaining the ebb and flow of the pay-per-view, keeping the fans' attention but not giving them the same thing match after match. For example, the Baron Corbin vs Roman Reigns match started off strong, then slowed down with King Corbin methodically beating down the big dog. At one point it looked like the match might turn into a Randy Orton snooze fest, but it built up to Roman's comeback following his exciting battle against overwhelming odds. Tonight the WWE did an excellent job controlling the fans' emotions from start to finish. Number 6. Delightful details. It's the details that make a good show into a great show, and the WWE shined tonight. Whether it was Corey Graves following up on the call of King Corbin crowning Roman with a can of dog food, and a full one at that, and although the Revival ran to Corbin's rescue after working a hellacious ladder match, both Dawson and Wilder sold the match, grabbing their taped ribs when performing moves. Even the somewhat average table match between Bobby Lashley and Rusev featured a suspenseful spot where one table was set up in the ring while one was set up outside it, with Lashley and Rusev having two different ways to win. While they didn't win in this spot, this detail added to the match. Little things like this made the show stand out from most of WWE's previous pay-per-views this year. A righteous return. As interesting as the dynamic between The Miz and Bray Wyatt was, as opposed to Wyatt's past in-ring appearances as The Fiend, the real story was Daniel Bryan's return. The story of Bray going from happy-go-lucky to maniacal was beginning to get strange, but the WWE delivered with the real payout. Daniel Bryan coming back for some much-desired payback and setting things up for a rematch at 2020's Royal Rumble. Fans got to cheer on the Yes movement as the WWE teased Wyatt's comeuppance, only for him to vanish into thin air before Bryan could get all the vengeance he obviously wants. Number 8. A true variety of talent. Tonight's show was excellent, but when you look at it, you realize there were a number of big names that didn't make the show. Whether it was Randy Orton, AJ Styles, Rey Mysterio, Alexa Bliss, Sasha Banks, or Shinsuke Nakamura, TLC proved the WWE doesn't need to squeeze in every performer every pay-per-view. And lastly, the Kabuki Warriors kick ass. The Kabuki Warriors and the unlikely team of Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch put on a good enough match, with all four wrestlers dishing out insane amounts of punishment to each other, including chairs, kendo sticks, ropes, and fire extinguishers. We have to admit it wasn't one of the best ladder matches of the year, nor on this show, but we're glad that the WWE didn't go with the final decision of putting the belts on Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, and instead kept them on the Kabuki Warriors. But that was the good. What about the bad? Is number 1, a controversial countout. Every show needs a match to slow things down, and while the Viking Raiders vs the OC was no 20-minute bout filled with headlocks and armbars, it had a slower pace than the previous matches, entertaining the fans. That is until the countout finished that spoiled the match. Countouts are fine for television matches, inviting fans to tune into the pay-per-view, but they should be used sparingly. For some of you guys, countouts may be acceptable, but we felt that it hurt what was otherwise a good match. But speaking of this match, number 2, a bit of a lackluster surprise. Now the Viking Raiders made an open challenge to any tag team. Couldn't they have chosen a team that was less obvious? Perhaps a team from NXT, since they've been pushing them so much? We're sure that would have been a better surprise than the OC turning up. Number 3, Rusev and Lashley deliver the night's bathroom break match. Every show needs a bit of a bathroom break match, and while Rusev vs Lashley was pretty much everything you expected, nothing great but nothing awful, it was a disappointment after so many excellent matches. Unfortunately, with Lashley winning, it seems that this feud is culminating at the Rumble. And number 4, the ending. Now why on earth did WWE need to cut to a brawl at the end of the show? Have they really got something about taking away the spotlight from Asuka? The thing is, the final moments of Asuka always get overshadowed by something. Her win at the Royal Rumble and her SmackDown Championship win were both overshadowed by Ronda Rousey, and this is no different. They did work their ass off in that match and they deserved the spotlight, instead of a meaningless brawl. And lastly, please get Jerry Lawler off commentary. His commentary is just so bad. We're sure at one point he called Asuka Kabuki Warrior 1 or 2. Come on, they're not identical twins or anything. They don't have the same name or the same look. There's just no excuse for that. But what about the downright ugly? Well, to be honest, there was nothing downright ugly about this show. It certainly wasn't the best of 2019, but it certainly wasn't the worst. It was somewhere in the mediocre range of good matches, but also some tiresome matches. WWE did get some things right on this pay-per-view, but they also got a few things wrong. Still, it wasn't a bad pay-per-view to round off 2019. Now we're officially on the countdown to the Rumble. But what did you guys think of the pay-per-view? Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.